Okay, they did it. The buyers bought a house. They moved in, they got their keys, they're so excited. The first weekend, I'm sure, is just off the hook. Now, if you watched all the series of the buyers escrow escapades, this is a wrap up of the entire series. So you can watch it in its entirety. All right, buyers came to us, they needed a loan. They weren't cash buyers, so they needed to have financing. So we gave them choices. They can go to whoever they want, but they did choose to use our in-house lender, which is really good because it's very convenient, and we can talk to them face to face and get updates all the time. It's a big deal. It makes a lot of difference. All right, they got a pre-approval from the lender. Now we started going out looking for properties. The pre-approval is so important because it tells you what you can afford. Don't go looking unless you know what you can buy. Otherwise, you might get spoiled. Looking at $1 million house or looking at an $800,000 house is there's a big difference there. Okay, so they've got their pre-approval letter. So now we can go look at properties. We did. We looked at about 12 houses. They fell in love with one, and we wrote the offer, and we got it accepted. With that offer, by the way, you do your financing. You hand the letter, the RPA, which is a residential purchase agreement, the pre-approval letter, and it's sent to the other side. And without that, you're kind of behind the 8 ball already. You should always have all your ducks in a row when you're writing an offer. All right, now we opened escrow. We have 17 days on this contract to do all of our due diligence. That includes all the disclosures, reviewing them. If there's an HOA, we review the HOA documents. There was no HOA. So we're going to get disclosures from everywhere. The sellers from the California state for natural hazard disclosures. If it's in a fire zone, a flood zone, all those are disclosures. The sellers will prepare theirs on the history of that property. We will get all that documents together and we will review them. And then during this, we're also going to order termite and a home inspection. Termite inspector comes out, they do an inspection of the house, they tell you what you need to do to get clearance certificate of termites. So it's a termite clearance on that property that will satisfy the lender. So the termite company will come out and do a report. There's 2 sections. One is to get the work done to be done in section 1 to satisfy the lender and get a clearance certification. Section 2 is further maintenance down the road or suggestions, but we only need section 1. So we did that. Home inspector we order. Again, the buyer has a choice. They can use whoever they want. And they picked a home inspector that a friend of theirs used, so they were very happy with that. Now, the home inspector meets us, the buyers, at the house. The sellers will not be there. Sometimes they are, but they shouldn't be there. They should give you the privacy to walk freely through the house, discuss all the concerns with the home inspector. It takes about 2 hours. So I suggest to my buyers to come about an hour and a half into that 2 hours, so they're not sitting around twiddling their thumbs. And by the way, you don't want to bother the home inspector. So they come in there a half hour before he's done. We sit and relax. They can look at the house more, whatever they want. Then the home inspector comes up and says, okay, guys, let's do a walkthrough. He shows them all the shutoff valves for emergencies, how to turn the water off, the electricity, stuff like that. His report, though, will be different. It'll come in an email. It'll be on everything in that house. Now, he will walk you through and tell you the concerns that he can spot immediately, which is like the water heater, HVAC systems, things like that. If it has a swimming pool, he'll go over the equipment. Anyways, that will all be reviewed too. Now, if there are items that you want to ask to be repaired, which is normal, it's a request for repairs. We have to fill that out, send it over with the home inspection to the sellers through their agent, and they'll review that, and they'll come back with an answer if they want to give you any repairs, or if they maybe sometimes will give you a credit towards your closing costs. That's a lot easier, by the way, just to get a credit. Sometimes the work, if you ask for it, has to be done, and you don't want to go down that road if you don't need to. You know, you'd rather get a credit, do the work on your own time instead of holding up your escrow. So the inspections are done. We did the request for repairs. I also did my agent visual inspection disclosure. I walk through the house. I do a visual inspection on the entire property. As mentioned in the other videos, door locks, the toilet's flush, water runs. I'm looking for anything that might really stick out. If I see a stain in the ceiling, I'll point it out, but I won't say what it is because I don't know. Anyway, that's an agent visual inspection. That goes with all the other disclosures. Once we package it all together, we review it. And if you're satisfied with everything the way it is, you've got your request for repairs done, then we can start removing contingencies. I would remove everything we can remove in a timely fashion to show the other side in good faith that we're ready to keep moving forward. Now, we'll hold out on the loan until that lender tells me, hey, you can remove the loan contingency. Then we'll kind of hold out to the last minute, or if it gets done approved earlier, fantastic. If there's an issue, then we would ask for extensions and let the other side know, hey, we're working on this. It's all about communication. When you start hiding stuff is when things go awry, and that's just not our style. So that will work out with the lender as well. Now, let's talk about that loan process. So the lender met, they got the pre-approval information. Then during the next couple of weeks, that lender is getting everything he can possibly get from the buyers to review with the underwriters. And I'm talking, it does an in-depth thing on their debt to income ratio, including their expenses and what they have out there, what their if there was an HOA, they include all these to make sure that they can afford that monthly bill. Now, remember this, a little tip. During the process of escrow, do not go shopping. I don't want to hear that you went out and bought a new washer, dryer, refrigerator, or whatever. Do not buy anything, because that will pop up in that month of escrow process with the underwriters. And let's say you went out and spent $10,000 on stuff, they may require you to pay that off in order for you to be able to still get the loan. So just make sure you don't do anything without talking to myself or your lender first. All right, so the loan process is done. We are now removed all contingencies. The lender called and said, hey, go for it. You can remove that contingency as well. So guess what? We remove any and all contingencies and give it to the other side. Now we are on cruise control. Everything has been taken care of. Now we just are waiting for the loan docs to come up from the underwriters. I've never understood where the underwriters are. I think they're underneath the bank somewhere, and they're thinking about, approvals and whatever. But anyway, so the underwriters send the loan docs up. That's about the week or so before the close of escrow, and it's a waiting period. So we're waiting, the buyers are waiting for those loan docs to come up. We've got notification that they are ready. Escrow will coordinate that with the buyers. They either go to their house with a notary, or they do it at an office, preferably at the office. They have the notary there. They sign all the loan docs. They send them back to the lender. The lender does one final check. And then if that's all good, and it usually is at that point, then you can go ahead and they'll fund. So the bank will say, go ahead and fund. Escrow will now transfer the buyer's money to the seller's account via wire transfer. Again, big tip, do not take instructions from anybody but the escrow officer about wire transfers. So I'm going to say it again. Don't take instructions from anybody but your escrow officer. If I tell you to do something, you should fire me, because I would never tell you to change your instructions. Okay, so I hope you got that clear. All right, so now it's funded. The monies have transferred. Now we're waiting for it to record. If they fund early in the morning, they can record in the afternoon. I think the cutoff is like 3 o'clock. Maybe 1:30 to 3 o'clock. So let's say we did all that and it did record. That is at the Orange County Recorder's Office, where they record your deed. Your deed now is in your name, so that house is yours, and also with everything else comes with it. So we've recorded. Now it is official. We can give you the keys and you can go move into that new house. So we've done everything all the way from the very beginning, from pre-approval to getting your keys. I hope this kind of clears some things up for you. If you have any questions, you can email me, text me, or send an email. I'll answer your questions. Please subscribe, and I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope it helps you with your buying process. Look forward now to the seller's process. Other than that, call the wizard. Thank you.